Get strong.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Handstandtalk. And today, as in our invitational, we have a very special person that we are going to meet. For those who haven't met yet, Daniel Chaffey is the international director of CrossFit, and he is a box owner as well, and a coach, CrossFit coach, and I would risk to say of one of the biggest CrossFit boxes in Europe.
Yeah, it's
welcome, Daniel.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not big in square meters, big in spirit, I think is how it goes. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the welcome. I was preparing my best Portuguese, and now we're going to do the podcast in English. So yeah, I have to put my Portuguese aside. Yeah.
Oh, no worries. The Portuguese we all understand, or most of us understand English. So I think that if it will be in French, it will be worse. At least for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be enjoyable. My French gets worse as the hours go on. So yeah.
So I'm trying to improve my French, but when I need to talk in French, I start like okay, and it's stuck like this.
Don't worry about it. We'll use body language. We're fine. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation. Yeah,
my honor.
Looking forward to this. Okay,
Daniel,
get stuck in. Give me your worst questions. Give me your worst questions.
First, let's hear about your story. How do you become the person that you are now, or the director of the international director of CrossFit?
That can be long and short. Short version is I harassed Kathy Glassman, Greg, Nicole, Dave forever to translate a lot of stuff for outside of the US and the English speaking communities. And then I harassed them about getting open announcements outside of the US, and to the point where Dave just said, "You still want to do it?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, well, I'll come over." In February of 2017, and so he came to France to do the 17.1 with Sam Briggs and Christine Holter in our box in Paris, CrossFit Louvre. And at the time, I just thought, hey, Dave's coming. You know, the affiliates would love this. So I contacted all the affiliates I knew because I've been working seminars doing translations for years. And so I just called all the affiliates and said, hey, Dave's coming. Let's give him a surprise drinks party. You know, so Dave didn't know that the affiliates. And so he walks in the box. I'm showing him the box, and as we walk downstairs, there's all the affiliates in the room. He goes, "Oh, who are these people?" I said, "Well, these are the affiliates." He goes, "Geez, you know, there's quite a lot of them." I said, "Yeah, and they've come to see you." So he was very happy to travel and stuff. And I just listen. You know, we've been thinking about a project with Nicole and Kathy about a liaison program, because we realized that we have a disconnect with outside of the US. That we want to do good things, but it's limited by time zone, language, and stuff. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah, of course. You know, who wouldn't? You know, what an honor. You know, and I said, what are the expectations? He goes, I don't know, just be flexible. I said, I can do that. And he goes, you sure you want to take it? You don't even know what the package is. I said, yeah, of course I want to take it. He says, good, because there is no package. It's just like an honorary package. I said, good, because you know, you shouldn't be taking a role like that for money, right? You know, you should be taking it because you can help others, you know, and you can help others develop as you've been developed through CrossFit. So that started in Feb 2017, and then and it kind of worked. So France kept growing, and they said, you know, what are you doing?
Let's get a little bit back.
Yeah, you want to go back and not forward?
Yeah. Way back.
Okay, so how did I? So what would that be?
What sports did you made before discovering the lifestyle of CrossFit?
Well, my most serious sports were rugby and volleyball. My most serious sports. So I was a setter in volleyball. We had a very good team, and I enjoyed that for many years. And rugby was just like ingrained in me from when I was a kid, since I can remember, you know, going to rugby matches with my father, watching England play, Rugby is just part of my life, and so I played rugby for my school. I played club rugby, and then when I went to uni, I kept playing rugby, and I wasn't too bad, but I wasn't good enough to make it to really the top. You know, I'd like to think I was good enough, but I wasn't. And then I just got hit on the head a few times, and I had a few blackouts. So that was the end of my rugby playing. And so those were my sports. I love team sports, and I love team training. So I suppose that kind of rubs off with CrossFit. You know, just the sharing of an experience, you know, is a big one. And we're talking about it earlier, you know, about how good training is. But it's like a good meal, you know. If you eat it on your own, it's okay. But if you share it with people, you know, it's a whole different experience, and that's where
Oh yeah.
CrossFit is amazing. And that's where you know I'm not a big fan of open gym, and I'm not a big fan of the guys that kind of like start to separate them from the community. You know, I can understand doing some accessory work and that kind of stuff, but really, you know, you want to try and keep people having that appointment with others and that human interaction. I think is super important for mental health, for your well-being. You know, just the
For
social
sure.
aspects, sense of belonging. Yeah.
No,
So yeah, so those are my sports. Yeah.
the especially the mental health for me, it was one of the reasons why I've tried the CrossFit, because before my life sport was basketball for obvious reasons. And then I stopped basketball, and then I was looking to find a sport that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
I try martial arts. I try gym, and to go to the gym, and I felt boring. And then I had a friend of mine that was already doing CrossFit for some years, and he was like, "Oh, you should try CrossFit." Oh, but I'm too tall. It's not going to work. It's going to be too hard for me. Try
Yeah, I
it,
remember your story. Yeah, I remember your
try
story.
it, and then go, and then you tell me something. I went and I fell in love. Yeah, I
Yeah,
went
that's it.
for the only CrossFit that I was a member. It's
Yeah.
Wow CrossFit in near my house. It was the closest one, and they have a very. It's not a huge community, but it's a very good community. It's amazing. It's for mental health, especially. We go there, we play with each others, and we talk a lot, and we share our thoughts on mostly training related, because no one wants to go to the CrossFit box to be talking about work or stuff like that. You
Yeah.
want to open your mind.
Yeah, that's right. It's so boxes fulfill this need. I mean, you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know, we I think we spoke about this when we met in Portugal. And you know, often we think, you know, of CrossFit as just a training methodology that fulfills physiological needs. You know, like a need to run faster, lose fat, gain muscle mass. You know, be pain free or something. But really, most people then get to a point where they're looking for a place where they feel welcome and safe. That's not the home and not the office. You know, and they're looking for a sense of belonging and love. And it's not, you know, nothing sexual in love, just, you know, love between human beings, you know, and the
Mhm.
social contact. And the number of people when you talk to people, especially in big cities, so like in Paris, you know, the first, you know, we have 3 boxes, 3 CrossFit Louvres and 2 in Paris. And when you talk to people, you get to know them, you realize that most people are actually quite lonely. That there's a solitude to life that is, you know, we all say, you know, you're born alone, you'll die alone, and in between you do what you want to do, right? But that most people can be quite lonely, and home office, working from home, computers, Zoom meetings instead of physical meetings, and so on and so forth, have just amplified that. And so I think that social aspect is even more important now inherently than it was pre-COVID, without a doubt. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
for
agree with
sure.
you on that. Yeah, yeah.
How did you came to open your first CrossFit box?
Oh,
CrossFit Louvre, right?
yeah. So I was working in the fitness industry. I'd been working in the fitness industry for a very long time, and I loved it. The company I was working for was fantastic. They looked after me very well. They're what we would call now a Globo Gym company, but for
Mhm.
me at the time, I didn't call them a Globo Gym because it was the only sort of fitness we knew, right? Was the Globo Fitness. And there was this undercurrent. It was kind of like a Fight Club thing that, I just landed on the web page, and it's like, what's this? This looks like it should be on the dark web or something, and got into that and started to follow those workouts and do the workouts for myself in our garden. My wife was looking at me like I was crazy, and she worked in the fitness industry. And then I bought some gym rings, and I could only buy plastic ones. I couldn't find the wooden ones. I bought gym rings on the internet from some I don't know, it's like an American company, and hung those from the tree. Then I bought a rope that I hung from the other branch, and so my garden started to look a bit weird. And then it was my birthday, and so my wife actually bought me an Olympic bar for my birthday,
Nice.
and a set of discs. But because she didn't know what we were doing, so she just bought me an Olympic bar and two 20 kilo discs. So everything was either empty barbell or 60 kgs. There's nothing in between. There's nothing above, nothing below. And so I did that for a few months, and I was like, well, I'd really love to know more about this. And I was writing my scores on CrossFit.com and that kind of stuff. And I realized there were a few other French people. Well, I'm not French, but I was living in France. I was like, oh, there are a few other people putting their scores and stuff. So we started to communicate a bit. And then I was looking through the website at movements, because it used to be the old journal was in there, and you used to click on movements and standards, and you'd be able to see all the movements to work out. And there was a part which was upcoming seminars, and I was like, seminars? Like what? They train people for this? It's like, because for months I was on the website, and I didn't realize that people would actually come together to train together. I thought it was like a programming that was on a website, and then people would do it in, they'd go to their gym, or they'd do it in their house, or and then I realized that the training will be at this box in central London. I go, box? What's a box? Shit, So I looked on the website of this place, and it was like this. It just looked a bit daggy. I was like, my goodness, people go and train there. How cool is that? It looks like a dungeon. Let's go do this. It looks like something S&M. I'm in. And so I asked my wife. I said, do you mind me taking some money and going to do the course? I'd like to find out more. And it was just to find out more for me, and then to train her. And I had a few friends coming to the garden as well. And I just wanted to do it better. I realized something was missing. I didn't have the breadth or depth of knowledge. And yet I'd been coaching for a very, very long time in fitness, right? So I go to the level 1 in London, and I walk in. It was in central London, and it's in Vauxhall or something, and it had these archways. And I walk in, and there's a dirty old couch with holes in it, and there's some guys sitting there. There's one guy doing static handstand hold, and I'd never, in a gym, I'd never seen someone doing handstand hold. I just see people jump on a runner or something, or do body pump or something. I mean, it looked like, Cirque du Soleil. It looked like
Yes,
that.
I know.
And there's another person doing double unders. I was going, oh wow, this is like. And then we sat down for level 1, and the flow master was Carl Stedman.
And until that moment, you never had any contact with the CrossFit box. It was your first time.
My level 1 was the first time I put my feet in a CrossFit box. So my first real CrossFit workout with other people coached was the Fran, because it used to be Fran on day 1, right? Until people kept falling off pull-up bars and had to change the workout. But that was my first CrossFit. That was the first time I saw butterfly pull-ups. So I'm doing 21:59, and I'm doing all strict on the level 1. And all these, and you're doing it like in teams of 2 and stuff. And I was like going so slowly, and all these guys are doing butterflies. Hey, what the is that? What these guys doing? It's like, and then I obviously blew up like popcorn, because I was doing everything strict. My thrusters were disgusting, because when you've never done thrusters, all the thrusters I was doing was empty barbell, because I couldn't jump from 20 kgs to 60 in my garden. So the first time I was doing 42 kg thrusters, and I was getting them up, but like after the 21, I was fried. I was like, oh my God, this is killing me. But then because so many people were watching, and the atmosphere, and it was like, whoa, come on there. It's like, so you get to the end, and it's like, I had this sense of euphoria on the level 1. It was like, oh my God, I felt like I climbed Mount Everest. It's like I get 21:59 of this and this. I'm like, oh my God. So that was my first ever group workout, was on the level 1, coached by Steve Haydock, Carl Stedman, Simon Jones, Drake Sladsky. So all these guys that have now become legends within the education department. Drake was actually interning, so he was in his black shirt. He was interning. He was like getting the coffees and all that kind of stuff. And there was Mads Jacobson as well from Scandinavia. So it was Mads' last seminar. And at the end of day 1, they have this social, which I think is a really important part of the seminars. where it's literally just like, hey, at the end of the day, we're just going to open some beers, and if anyone wants to chill out and have a conversation, let's just chill out and have a conversation. Kind of like what you do in a box on a Friday night, right? When you're closing up, hey, someone wants a beer, it's for a beer, and that for me is like, wow, what a great atmosphere, And I was in the gym business. I said, we've never done this with our members, In all the gyms that I was managing, we never just like thought, hey, let's open up the fridge and hand out a Heineken or even maybe perhaps a better beer than a Heineken, right? And so I'm standing there with these two guys, Mads Jacobson and Carl Stedman, and they go, so you're from France, right? I said, yeah, I'm English, but I live in France. So what box do you train at? I said, I don't. This is my first time in a box. They go, why is it your first time in a box? I said, because there aren't any boxes. They didn't exist when I was doing my level 1. And the first box literally opened like 2 weeks after I did my level 1. It was the first box, and it opened like 10 minutes from my house. It was like a total coincidence. Of all the places in France, they opened like 10 minutes from my house. Called CrossFit Bordeaux was the first box, and they said, well, why don't you open one? And I was standing on my business like, fuck yeah, it's like, good question.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? It's like, I really dig this. I've been doing it badly in my garden for a very long time. I need to learn to do it better. I need to learn to coach it, and then yeah, why not? So I called my wife. I said, hey, listen, we need to chat when I get back tomorrow night, because we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop, and we're gonna do something different. She goes, what? We're gonna open a CrossFit box. She goes, what? Like the thing you're doing the training in now? I said, yeah, but they don't just train coaches. They have members, and it's like, what? You mean like it's a real gym? I said, yeah, it's a real gym. She goes, okay, come and tell me about it. And I was lucky enough that she was super supportive. I mean, just and we had our son who'd just been born, and so it was a tough decision for her. It wasn't so tough for me because I was just all about the enthusiasm for getting this on, and like, yeah, let's do it. We got to give this to people,
We came with a blood rush from the level 1.
I mean, I've been in the fitness industry for like over 20 years. And I had to go to the level 1 in London for someone to define to me what fitness was. I mean, hang on, I've been working in an industry where for 20 years, I didn't even know what the definition was. We'd been mistaken. We'd been told that fitness was, group exercise classes with some guy on a podium, or sitting on a static bike, yelling to music, or getting on treadmills and doing, guided machines. And because that's what we knew, that's all we knew, well, that's what we kept selling to people as their solution. And yet, so I was working for this big fitness company. I was frustrated that I'd lost belief in the service and what we're giving to our members. And I'd seen by doing CrossFit, even badly, what it had done for me. And so I spoke to the shareholders. So I was in a fairly good position in the company. Running part of the European business, so with a lot of clubs, big teams and stuff, and so I had a fair leadership experience and operations, operating multi-site and gym and that kind of stuff. So I was very lucky with that, and I just said to them, I said, we have issues with retention. Like our members are leaving. They're not happy, and we've done a study with like 11,000 people from 17 countries who had left us, asking them what were the main reasons they'd left us. And so the main reasons were, I had no interaction with people. So you literally go in and swipe your card and then go and sit on the machine with your headset on, or go into a GX class and jump and shout and stuff, and then, go home. I had no interaction. And I was like, well, that's solved because everything is coached. So you have an appointment with people and you're sharing it with other people. So that's solved. I've been doing the same thing all the time since I joined, because you get into this routine, or you get given a routine when you join, you just do that all the time. So I'm bored. That's solved by CrossFit because it's constantly varied. Every day the workout
every day,
on. Yeah. I learn nothing new. That's solved by CrossFit because your coach is teaching you. Even if you're picking up details, you go through the learning curve of being taught and then coached and then refining and stuff every day. I get bored. Well, there's no boredom in CrossFit, right? You know what I mean? And so I'm not getting results. And I was like, well, actually, you're not getting results because you keep doing the same thing. You plateau, you get bored, so you come less often. Whereas CrossFit, you don't feel as though you have to go. You want to go, And I was like, so I said to the shareholder, I said, the solution, I'm convinced the solution to the problem of churn in our membership in the Globo Gym is CrossFit. I said, let's talk to CrossFit. Let's see if we can turn maybe just 2 of our clubs in each country into CrossFit boxes. So I didn't know at the time that they didn't affiliate Globos and stuff. But I said to the shareholders, why don't we talk to them? We do a test for a year. And instead of investing in treadmills and whatnot, we invest in training coaches. And they looked at me like I was crazy, like I'd been hit in the head. And they said, hey, listen, we're just going through a temporary dip. It's a financial crisis. What we've been doing worked before, it'll work again. And I was like, okay, well, then I'll go and do it myself. So resigned, and my wife supported me. She resigned as well. And it was a very well-paid position. We were in very good jobs, and the company was paying for a house. It's paying for all that. So, we had a very comfortable life. Yeah, I mean, if we'd wanted easy money, we would have stayed where we were. But we wanted to work in something we believed in. So we said, we'll go and do it ourselves. We'll go and open a small box in Bordeaux. And we started to look for locations near the house. And at that time, then spoke to someone at Reebok and said, hey, we've heard that you're resigning from Fitness First. Would you like to meet? We have a proposal for you. And I was like, well, not really. I've worked for big companies. I don't want to work for Reebok. No offense, right? I love your pump and stuff. I don't want to work for Reebok. So no. It's not about working for an apparel company. It's about gyms. We have a proposal for you. I said, oh no, I've got a project. They said, hey, listen, we'll buy you lunch. Let us pitch you this, and then we'll see. I said, okay. So I went up to Paris, had lunch with the team from Reebok, and they said, so what are you going to do? I said, oh, well, you've probably never heard of it, but I'm going to open a box, a CrossFit box. They go, CrossFit? You're kidding me. I said, no. They said, that's why you left Fitness First? You're going to go and do CrossFit? I said, yeah. They said, hey, well, we've signed. No one knows yet. It's still officially Adidas, but from next year, we've signed a 10-year deal. So this was the year before Reebok was coming in. We signed a 10-year deal to be a partner with the CrossFit. And part of that is we want to have like flagship boxes. Would you want to do it? And I'm like, no, I don't. My box will be the Daniel Chaffey CrossFit box, or the Daniel and Sophie CrossFit, but it's not going to be the Reebok box. I'm not going to work and give you guys money. I'm fed up making money for other people. If I'm successful, I want to make money for myself. And if I fail, well, then it's my failure. It's not, I don't want pressure from shareholders or something like that. And they said, no, it's your box. We help you with branding and marketing, and we give you clothes for your team and stuff. And we just use, we use you to carry our name. We trust you to operate a good location. Well, let me think about it. So I went back to see my wife. My wife's like, no way, it's like, so the whole thing. So we said no. And then like, after about 6 months, it was like, okay, let's go back and talk to them again. Maybe there's something to it. And so we did. And they said, but it has to be in Paris. I was like, oh shit. We had a nice hat. So we ended up moving to Paris to open our first box in Paris with the help of Reebok. And we did all the Reebok events around France. We're traveling every weekend, setting up rigs on car parks, and and just basically on websites and Facebook pages saying, hey, you want to come and discover a CrossFit workout? Come to this car park on this day. And we would go to these cities that I can't even show them on a map. And we would have 250, 300 people want to do in a single day CrossFit workouts. And we'd have a rig, a few boxes, wall balls. Yeah, it's crazy. And Reebok did a lot of good then, because they pumped in marketing money, and that sort of activation of helping people discover the activity was magical, because I would say of the first like maybe 12 CrossFit boxes, 6 or 7 of them discovered CrossFit on that tour. They came to the Strasbourg one, they came to the Mulhouse one, they came to the one in Marseille. And a lot of box owners say, hey, you remember, our first ever workout was, and it was on a car park of a sports store, and so we did that for a year. The demand was there, but we had loads of problems with locations, like a lot of box owners, and that first year we moved locations 4 times. The first one we lost and we had no location to go to. And so we were just coaching in parks, and it was a very tough period. because I'd
especially in the
obviously,
winter time.
yeah, and I'd gone up to Paris with my wife and my son, and I'd hired people. I knew what I want. I had a vision of not doing a small box with just me coaching. I had a vision of a full-time reception team, and these guys doing prospecting, touring new members, helping on the introduction of new members, welcoming the members, and serving them drinks before the workout, and that kind of stuff, and talking to the members after the workout, and me coaching. That was the vision. And then it was like, well, actually, I can't coach enough hours, so I need another coach, and so on and so forth. So I'd hired one, two, three, four people. And I was paying their salaries, and we lost the location. The landlord refused to give us the keys to the location that I'd signed. We'd signed the lease because LVMH, so Louis Vuitton, was supposed to be on the first floor, second floor, third, fourth, and fifth. And the week we were supposed to take the keys, Louis Vuitton said, "Oh, well, actually, we would like the ground floor on the -1, which is where the box is going to be." So the landlord calls me and says, "Hey, don't bother coming to pick up the keys." I go, "What do you mean? We signed the lease." "I don't care. Louis Vuitton is going to pay us so much money that I don't care. We're just not giving you the keys." So we were there. I'd hired these 5 people, including my wife at the time, and no location. Literally, like the Friday for the Monday. Monday we're supposed to start the demolition work. So that was how it started. It was like, oh my God, how bad is this?
A nightmare.
Yeah. So I had that phone call, and then I called the team and said, "Hey, I want to invite you guys for lunch." And so we went down to this restaurant. I can picture it now. It's called Le Marceau, and they're sitting around the table, and they can see my face. And they go, "What's wrong?" I said, "Listen, I got some bad news, and I got some good news." And they go, "Give us the bad first." I said, "Well, don't panic. I know we've all just moved to Paris for this project, right? So don't panic. But the box will not be at Rue du Louvre, because that was why it's called CrossFit Louvre. It was in a road called Rue du Louvre. It was not because we're near the museum." And they just looked at me like, "What do you mean, don't panic?" They all panicked. They all just like, "What do you mean?" I was like, and I said, "Now the good news is that around this table we have amazing experience. We know how to run gyms. We've all fallen in love with CrossFit, and so this will give us time to pick an even better location." And so what I want us to do is, we're gonna, instead of using our Facebook page to tell people we're going to be at this location, we'll use the Facebook page to do free sessions in the parks, and we'll do that until we find a location. And so either we find a location or the money runs out. One of the two. Are you in? Will you? And we had enough money maybe for like 5 months, so to pay the salaries for 5 months. And fairness to them all, they all stayed. And the first workout we did in a park, we had 26 people, just off a Facebook group. Of those 26, maybe half eventually became coaches and now box owners. And so like guys like Elie Margerin, who's now a flow master, David, who's our director of training, Julien Fester, who's now the country manager for CrossFit France. They were all in that first session. They were all in that first session. And so
it's amazing
to
see the progression from a street workout to managers and
yeah, and so now it's and now I get angry when youngsters come in and they're given everything. They'll come in and they come into a box where you've got 1,300 members or 800 members, and the rent's being paid, and you've got material, and the lights are on, and there are showers, and everything's easy, and there's a routine, and there's a planning, and all that kind of stuff. And back then it was like we were literally going from one workout to the next, hoping that there would be more people, and that we would find a location to then say to these people, "Hey, if you want to come and join, this is where we're going to be training." After 4 weeks, we did a workout in Champ de Mars. So under the Eiffel Tower, there's a park there. And we weren't allowed to do it in these parks. We were getting chased by the police and all that kind of stuff. It was fun. It was fun. And we're doing workouts in the parks. And we had the material. It was on the landing in front of our apartment. And we would rent these electric cars. We had no cars. We'd rent these electric cars and open up the back, the boot. And these barbells were sticking out of these cars, and we would drive from the flat to the park, unload the car, put the car back on the charger, that kind of stuff. After 4 weeks, we did a workout with 126 people. we went from 100, we went from we went from like 26 to 126. And so at every workout, we're just asking these people for, so when they would book on Facebook, we'd ask them to write their name, their telephone number, and email address. So we
Creating
built
a database.
Yeah, absolutely. And at that time, I'd been visiting loads of locations, and we found a temporary location, which was a shop, and it was small. It was only like, it was like 50 square meters, so it was small. But we went in and said, okay, we're gonna okay, let's call a friend, and he came in with his welding kit, and he bought like metal bars, and we did a pull-up bar across that could fit 2 people. We had floor space for maybe 4 barbells, but you couldn't drop because it was a store in a 250-year-old building. And downstairs we put a coffee machine and a fridge with some bottles and just a couple of sofas and stuff, and that was it. And then there was a corner, like, shit, we need a changing room or something. So we bought one of those plastic showers, with those dodgy doors, and we fitted that up in a corner upstairs, and we made like a makeshift changing room that would be, the ladies were allowed to go in first. When they'd finished, then the men would go in. There was 1 shower and like 8 lockers, and that was the first Louvre. And now, so we go from that, where, I mean, we joined in the first month, maybe 150 people. Within 4 months, we had 600 members in a space that was just like, it was pretty tiny. But our team knew how to prospect, and they knew how to sell. And I was learning how to coach CrossFit, and I had a coach with me who was going to become a head coach. And the first few members that were coaches were looking at them and looking at how enthusiastic they were and stuff. And David was one of our first members. He's now our training director.
Let me ask you, when you opened the CrossFit box, were you coaching as well, or were managing the space?
The first few weeks I was doing nearly all the coaching, which was a great learning curve. I mean, when I look at my programming and I look at what I was coaching now, it was horrible, but you have to go through that learning curve, I suppose, right? And then it was just, okay, so I was recruiting a coach. I said, okay, now the goal is you got to be better than me. Otherwise, I'm not going to delegate hours to you if you're not better than me. You got to become better than me. So I took a coach to his level 1, and then I took him out to Boston, and we worked with Austin Maliolo, who was coaching at Reebok 1. And so in all, I spent like 4 weeks at Reebok 1, observing, learning. He'd been coaching CrossFit for a couple of years. He was probably at that time one of the most experienced CrossFit coaches. And so I just kept, I would go out and I would sit in a corner. I said, I'm not going to bother you, I'll do the cleaning, I'll do whatever, but I just want to watch, I watched the team meetings. I watched how he gave feedback to his coaches. And then very soon after that, I went to do my level 2, which was at the time called the CPC. It wasn't called the level 2 back then. And I was the first person from France to take the CPC. I mean, when I walked in, I had to fly to Miami to take it because it wasn't really anywhere else at the time. And the seminar staff was shocked. They were like, "Where'd you live?" I was like, "France." What? You mean like the other side of the United Kingdom? I was like, yeah, the other side of the United Kingdom. So they were like, wow, you've got it. So it was, and then the level what then became the level 2, the CPC, just blew my mind on how you could upskill your coaches, how you could give feedback, how everything was measurable, and you could, and if it's, and as soon as you can measure, how good a coach is, you can then quantify it, and you can give them feedback, and you can make them better. And so the level 2 as well, I was like, we can scale this, and we can scale it fast. We can take coaches that love CrossFit and they're good with people, and we can teach them to become really good coaches. And the level 2 was a mind-blowing experience. Or the CPC with them was a mind-blowing experience.
It's funny because from the 200 plus interviews that I already made, something that I noticed is that whenever someone goes to make the CrossFit or the level 1 training, the impression that I get is that it's like you open a Pandora box.
That's right. Yeah.
They all get out of the training with the hunger to open a CrossFit box or
Yeah.
to work to become better in
Yeah.
what they're doing, and
Mm.
it's amazing. What is the secret?
Yeah. Yeah,
It's really
totally.
the Pandora box.
I think it is. I think because you discover this truth about movement. You discover this truth about what health is. You discover this truth about what good training looks like. You discover this truth about aging. You don't have to age badly. I'm nearly 50, and honestly, I work out. I'll take a sauna. I'll do a cold bath. I'll do one or two stretching yin yoga sessions. Bit of go wad sort of thing. And I feel like I'm 26. I have energy levels. I'll be working with guys that are 20 years younger than me, and they'll be falling asleep, and I'm still going. And I'll go skiing with my 13-year-old son, and I can out ski him. I'll go surfing, and I can out surf him, and that is magical. The vision when
It
I was
is.
young of what I would be when I was 50 was depressing. It made me not want to get here. Now that I'm nearly 50, I'm like, I want the next 50 years. I wanna be the one of the healthiest ever 80-year-olds walking the earth. And that's what CrossFit, kind of the Pandora box of CrossFit for me. And then the other thing was that you can coach anybody. The vision of oh well, and this was in the global industry as well. You have to be healthy, or you have to be able to move in order to move. And it's like, no, you need to move to be able to move. And so it was like spinning the whole thing on its head. And so all those points of discovery, I think, are part of the Pandora's box. Greg has given us this. I called it earlier a vehicle. He's given us this vehicle, and then where we take it is up to us. I had a box owner in a friend of mine in Glasgow called Gavin. He said Greg literally laid these golden eggs. The CrossFit methodology. He laid these golden eggs, and anyone who wants to can pick them up and then go and share them with their community. And that's basically it. And that's it. It's your discovery of these golden eggs. That's the level one. The level one is you find one egg. The level two, you find another egg, and then you go to study your level three, or you go to a competition and you see the community together, or you go to an affiliate gathering, and that's another egg, and so on and so forth. It's yeah.
Let me ask you a question. The people that went to make the level one, they all received the same training, the same perspective. But why does some when they go out of the training, they want to open a box, but they don't want to be affiliated? Some want to be affiliated, others don't. Why do you feel that happened?
I it's kind of like a membership, right? Where you'll see 10 prospects, and 6 or 7 will join your box and pay you membership, and then 3 won't, right? Even though they say, yeah, CrossFit looks like it's the solution for me. If the membership were free, if it cost no money, I'm pretty sure that you'd probably have a lot more people, joining your box, right? And so I think money is one reason, without a doubt. I mean, so as a country manager, I was speaking to several affiliates, that one guy, he had one box very successful, second box was very successful, and then they opened a third box which wasn't successful because it was in a bad location. They didn't. So there were 2 brothers, and there was one brother in one box, one brother in the other, and then the third box just they didn't. They knew nothing about recruiting people, training people, developing people. And so they were angry that this third one wasn't making enough money. And so they said, listen, our boxes here are very successful, so we don't need CrossFit anymore. We don't need to pay the affiliation fee. I was like, fine, if you don't want to pay the affiliation, it's fine, but you got to take down all the branding, you got to take down the name, you got to take down CrossFit logos from your website, from your Facebook page, your Instagrams, the hashtags. you can't even use a hashtag. It's like that's it. There are only two choices. You're affiliated and you use the brand, or you're not affiliated and you take everything down. And so these guys were like, well, for $9,000, we'll take it down. So they took down. So for the three, long story short, 2 years later, two of those three gyms are closed. They tried to transfer all the members into the one gym. They lost their best coaches. Why? Because a lot of coaches want to be not functional fitness coaches, but they want to be CrossFit coaches. So you'll lose those. You'll also lose the potential future coaches that could have come in and interned with you and become your future coaches. You lose your members who want to be part of the CrossFit community, not the functional fitness community, not Daniel's gym. You lose the prospects that are looking to do CrossFit. They don't come to you anymore. They'll go to another place. You lose the drop-ins. Just on t-shirt sales, it's worth me being affiliated. So the money argument is a very short-term, short-sighted argument in my experience. And then there's the ethical one of, whatever it is, I don't, what does CrossFit do for me? For me to want
that is a question that I heard a lot.
Well, CrossFit is actually a methodology which is patented. It's intellectual property. CrossFit is not a workout. CrossFit is a methodology, and it carries that name, and that name is protected. So if you want to train people and earn money using that methodology, you need to be part of the CrossFit movement. And if everyone was part of the CrossFit movement that didn't contribute to it, there would be no level 1. There would be no level 2. There would be no CrossFit Games. There would be no community. There would be no sense of belonging. So if everyone had that short-term mentality, they wouldn't have ever been able to go and do a level 1. They would still be doing body pump, in the local gym, or reading, Schwarzenegger's Guide to Bodybuilding. And I have nothing against body pump or Schwarzenegger's Guide, but if you love CrossFit and you've discovered CrossFit, it's because somebody put the work in for CrossFit to get to you, and for it to be there for you. So for as long as I'm sharing CrossFit, for as long as I'm coaching it, my coaches are coaching it, I'll stay affiliated. The day that there's something better than CrossFit that gives better results and is better for the community, well, then I might go and do that. It might be, I don't know. We always used to say, rollerblade with a feather in your bum, under the Eiffel Tower. Then we'll become a rollerblading club, and I'll affiliate to the rollerblading federation, whatever it is. But until there's something that's better than CrossFit and improving people's lives, I'm in 100% with CrossFit, And so I don't think you can do things half-heartedly. And I think also that the end user, right, the member who trains CrossFit, wants to train CrossFit. If you see someone who's not affiliating and not wanting to do things in the right way, do you trust them as much as someone who is willing to do it? Everything we do will build or destroy trust. Everything. Nothing is neutral. Everything sends a message. Even when you decide not to do something, you're sending a message, by not doing. And so when you decide to coach CrossFit and maybe talk about CrossFit, but without having the logo or without writing it, because you're not allowed to use it written, but your coaches will say, yeah, I'm a CrossFit coach, even though we're, your members know you're cheating, So I don't think that develops respect. I don't think it develops trust, and that's worth way more than $3,000 a year, in my opinion. Again, right? This is just my opinion, but yeah.
Of course. Well, I
hope that answers your question.
You pay, yeah, of course. You pay. That will answer my question, and I think that will clarify a lot of doubts from people that ask that question, or what is the benefits of becoming a member of the
well,
the
now that, and now my old school answer is, hey man, if you don't want to affiliate, it's fine. If you don't understand the value of being part of the community, well, then we don't want you in the community. That would be my answer, but then if you know what's out there now for the affiliates, it's a no-brainer. In the last year and a half, we've developed the affiliate partner network, where you have partnerships where you can get reductions on tons of products only for affiliates. We have CAP, which is the affiliate programming, which is paying today, right? But it's just for affiliates. We have the playbook just for affiliates. We have the content kit, which is coming out and is just come out in Portuguese, by the way, for affiliates, which has huge amounts of content, videos, promo videos, branding. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that is free to just affiliates. And there are going to be more and more, training courses, partnerships. Even so, for example, I'm very happy that the open, the open should be reserved for people to train an affiliate, and it should be something that is only for people that train an affiliate. It should be something that if you don't train an affiliate, you can take part in the open, but it's more complicated, and so you may have to film your workouts and send them in for an online judge to judge and stuff, and so hopefully that's the way it's going to go back to again, right? And if it does go back to that, then that's a very good point as well. So there are a lot of reasons to be an affiliate as opposed to being, functional bullshit.
It's funny because I think that it was two years ago when I started the podcast 2 years ago, and I remember that it was when I first understood what was the open, what was the games, and it was when I start looking at on a different perspective, and I remember that I start out of curiosity to see people that share the workout video, and I went to see, this guy made this result and blah blah blah. And I went to see the video, and I found some videos that were people that were doing or trying to do the WODs on a normal gym, or not even a normal gym. It's like
difficult, right?
Yeah. I don't know how to call it.
In a Globo. Yeah.
Something like that. And I felt like, well, if they have to make like barbell butterfly pull-ups and stuff like that, they will never be able to do it, because it was one of those separate pull-up bars that has with the handles coming down on the side, right? It's almost impossible to make it. Well, it's not impossible, but it's not for everyone.
A lot harder. A lot harder for sure.
I found it funny because I wouldn't say that I understand your perspective, of course, but at least the person that goes to the open should train on a CrossFit on a CrossFit box. If it is affiliated or not, that would be.
Yeah, I think last year
at least a CrossFit box.
Yeah, I can understand the decision last year. That they really want just more people doing CrossFit. So. Or we really want more people doing CrossFit, so I can understand that. But it was disappointing that the decision was made. I wasn't consulted on that decision, and I was
the home edition was like something.
Yeah, and then it just allowed unaffiliated gyms to say we're running the CrossFit Open, which I think is unfair on affiliated gyms. So we'll see if we can correct that this year. We'll see if we can get that right. Stay tuned, right? We'll see if we can get it right.
What competition wise, besides the open, and are we going to have the regionals again?
You're asking some tough questions. There's a strong movement for there's a strong argument for that. I can understand why people would want that, organized by CrossFit, and as I organized the French Throwdown, which was a sanctioned event a few years ago, and we decided not to continue as a semi, because being a semi put a lot of constraints on our programming, and our choices that we didn't want to have. We didn't want to be just a rectangle. We wanted to have outdoor stuff. We wanted to have water-based stuff, that kind of stuff. And so being a semi was a bit harder on that. And the issue for semifinals is to actually break even and not lose a lot of money. So that CrossFit have a huge amount of experience in organizing events, and they have weight in pulling in sponsors and partners that local guys like me, we don't have. So there's an argument for it. There's an argument for going back to that, because whatever system is in place for the Open and the sports season, it has to be sustainable. It has to be something that can happen year after year, because we need to give consistency to the affiliates and to the people that want to take part in the sport. They need to be able to anticipate and know that next year it will resemble more or less this year, without too many changes. So that's being worked on. The sports team, they've brought in, there's a lady called Heather working with JB, who is super smart. She's so good. And she's having a huge influence on the season itself. The team running sports today really want it to be user friendly. They want it to be athlete friendly and affiliate friendly, which wasn't really taken into consideration before. Dave's mindset was find the fittest person on the planet. That was it. That was the mission. He was on a military mission, and there was no one that could do it better than Dave, without a doubt.
For sure.
So they still want to find the fittest, but they want it to be a good experience for affiliates and a good experience for the end user. So there's some changes coming. I can't tell you what they are. I'm not allowed to. But there's some changes coming. Just trust me that these are good changes, that when they get announced shortly, you will think of me and you'll go, he was right. These are good changes. Okay. So the changes may even be announced before you publish the podcast, but I can't, I've been sworn to secrecy, but there's some good things coming. The sports team really do have good intentions, and the season in general for 2023 is going to be very exciting. When I talk about the season, it will go from like Waterpalooza in January all the way through to December with the Dubai Championship. That whole season, the whole year is 2023 is going to be the OGs will be going, oh, this is cool, and the guys that didn't know CrossFit back then will be going, oh, hey, this is new, but this looks really cool. So next season is going to be fun. This season is going to be fun.
No, I feel like when I start doing CrossFit and when I start understanding what CrossFit was, more than 2 years ago now, almost three years ago, I felt that the community was a little bit more divided. And then even with those extreme changes that happened on the CrossFit company, as a company, I felt that now people are starting to become more united again, because this is my vision as an outsider, as a person from outside of the CrossFit industry. But this at least I feel this way. I don't know what is your feedback on this, if you feel that people are getting more united, or as an OG from CrossFit you felt that we were even more and now we are a little bit.
I think, well, when you live shared experiences, whether they're good or bad, they strengthen you. And I knew through all the bad things, I was very confident that CrossFit would survive. Through the whole tweet thing, through COVID. Why? Because there's just this undeniable truth in the methodology, and so I knew CrossFit would survive. That it would be resilient. That it would show everybody that it's not a fad, and CrossFit does not depend on one person. I miss Greg. He's given us so much, but CrossFit doesn't depend on one person. And today it still doesn't depend on one person. And I know that the magic of CrossFit is shared by the affiliates every single day in the box. So as long as the box owners want to get out and go and open up their box, at 5 a.m. and go up to the whiteboard and write the workout on the board, welcome their members, and turn on the music and turn on the lights, CrossFit will exist. That's fundamental. And then going through all these bad times, you come out the other side and you're strengthened by it. There's a bond. You've lived the same ups and downs, so there's a bond there. But also internationally, we've managed now to get some boots on the ground. And for me, if we can understand CrossFit, we'll believe in it even more. If we take CrossFit to you, wherever you are, in whatever language, we will help you to understand it better, right? So time zone barriers, language barriers do not help in sharing CrossFit. So instead of having CrossFit come from the US, CrossFit needs to become as Portuguese as it is American. It needs to become as French as it is American. How do you do that? Well, you have a person there who's there to build relationships, who's there to educate, inspire, entertain, who's there to take care of the community. And that's what we've been doing. That's what, and we've been given those tools. We've been given the right to go and do it. And so now, instead of just being me in France, in 2017, we then went to 5 country managers, then we went to 8. Now we're 24. And so the communities are being bonded. Last weekend, Germany came together, they bonded. Next weekend, there's going to be a huge gathering in Holland. There'll be 250 affiliates together. They're going to bond, they're going to build a community, a real sense of unity. Community is what? Is a common sense of unity. So you need to be able to bring people together to share that common sense of unity, build a community, right? End of the month in Prague, the affiliates are coming together and they're going to talk about the next 3 years. Where else? Portugal in October. Brazil in October. Australia in November. France in November. All the country managers and the teams, they're focused on supporting affiliates and building communities, and that's why I think the future is super bright. And if our role is to protect the methodology, our role is to help affiliates be happy and successful, all of us together, we will do one thing, one goal. That's it. Get more people doing CrossFit. If everybody's goal is that. Don Fall, the new CEO, Gary, my boss, me, the regional directors, the country managers, the affiliates, the coaches, the interns, the cleaning lady in the box, or the cleaning man in the box, the guy at reception. If all we want, and also the members, right? If the members are our biggest ambassadors, we're all aligned in getting more people doing CrossFit, we will save a lot of pain. We will make the next generation far happier and healthier than we could have ever hoped and dreamed of becoming. And we will leave a fantastic legacy. We have an opportunity that is amazing. And I said it earlier, CrossFit is in its infancy. We think, it's been around for ages. It's been around for a while, long enough to help me be better and be a better man. But it's in its infancy. It's a baby, And so we have an opportunity now to do something that is absolutely outstanding. Your podcast helps, every seminar helps, everything that's positive around sharing CrossFit is rising the tide, and rising tides, help all ships, right? We leave no affiliate behind. So I agree with you. There's this huge wave of positivity at the moment, and it's fantastic. Yeah. It's not limited just to Portuguese.
Yeah, at least I feel this way at the moment.
Good.
I feel that it's more united.
And you're my radar. You're so tall. You can sense. You can see further than me. You can see the good stuff a long way away.
Well, I have bad vision. I need to wear glasses. So.
Yeah, but on this podcast, right? I don't know what you do with your seat, but you take it so down. It's so low. You look like you're a dwelf.
No, it's
like
it's the camera.
Sorry, not allowed to say, but you look like you're a very short person. So yeah, you should stand up, and people should know that you're like how tall are you? 196,
2.5.
You're two. Hey, question for you is, because I don't know, right? I'm only like 177. Is everything proportional? Like you got big feet, big hands,
Well, I will say that I have small feet for
big
my height.
shoes.
So
You're unset. You're unbalanced, right? You're unbalanced. You're unbalanced.
only on the feet, only on the feet. So,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah, cool.
uh, I have one last question.
Tell
If a
me.
person that is going to open a CrossFit box, what
Yeah.
is your recommendation for a person that is now starting this business and wants to open a CrossFit box?
Several is when you're talking about, well, when you're thinking about investing in space or in equipment, I would recommend, instead of going too big too soon, I'd recommend start smaller and then grow into the space and then outgrow the space. It's a good problem to have too many members for your space, as opposed to getting a rent that's too high because you've got too many square meters, or spending important capital on 10 rowers when to begin with you're not going to have 10 people per class, and so on and so forth. So start small, see big, but start small, right? Would be one. The second is I would make sure that I have a plan and processes for excellence in coaching, but also excellence in sales and prospecting, and excellence in inducting new members. So you're on ramp, because to begin with, every member is going to be new, right? They may have done CrossFit elsewhere, maybe, but most will not. And your new members, you don't need to go and hunt current members from other boxes. You don't need to go. You will create your community. You don't need to go and destroy. You will find, your members by prospecting and selling. So if you've never run a business before, go and learn about running a business and running a business plan. If you've never managed people, go and learn about management. If you've never led people, management and leadership are not the same thing. If you've never been in a leadership position, go and learn about leadership. If you've never sold a membership, go and learn about sales. You can easily. If you've never done prospecting, go and learn about prospecting. I would recommend that, because most people that are passionate about CrossFit, think, oh yeah, let's go. I'm gonna show them. And then no one pitches up. They put the logo across the door and they think they're gonna be full. That doesn't happen so much anymore. The old thing of build it and they will come. That was 12, 15 years ago, when you were the only box in the city. Now, Bordeaux's got 24 boxes. Paris, I have no idea how many, but when we were the only box, it was easy. Yeah. So don't think that just by opening the doors you will get to break even. You need to get to break even as quickly as possible. So as a new box owner, you need to set time aside for prospecting every day. If you prospect every day, and prospecting is what? Prospecting is the art of getting people to want to come to your box. And don't wait for them to come. Go outside, go grab them, go give them. And you've got no members. You've got space, you've got time. So hand out free guest passes. Just go and get names and numbers and set appointments, and just go and do that. Do that every single day until your box is making money. Because when you open up and you're not making money, it's like going underwater. You're holding your breath. Your oxygen is your money. As time goes past, the bubbles are leaking. And unless you get to the surface, which is break even, you're going to drown. So make sure that you have some oxygen when you start, and then make sure you get to the surface as quickly as possible. And that's by prospecting. So you need to give good service, but you've got to go out and get those members. And you say, yeah, they'll come, but they don't have the same value to you in 6 months as now. When you open a new business, you need them now. And new businesses that fail, they don't fail because they don't know how to coach. They simply fail because they don't have enough members. And they don't have enough members, not because they don't know how to sell. They don't have enough members because they simply don't prospect. And as passionate CrossFitters, we much rather go and do a workout than go outside and go and talk to people that aren't members. But you've got to go and do that. Those would be my Sorry for talking so much, but
No, I love it,
I've spoken to a lot of
it.
success. I spend my life, speaking to and training box owners on this stuff, and those are the trends that I just keep seeing over and over again.
I
And
would
then the
like
boxes
to.
that aren't successful. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
You
no,
want to
I
open a
was going
box?
to. I
You
was
want to
going
open a
to.
box? Go open a box.
No, I was going to say that the one argument that I had with myself before I did CrossFit, it was like, oh, CrossFit is too expensive, because if you go on a global gym, you pay like 25 euros here in Portugal. 25 euros per month. If you go to a CrossFit box, you will pay at least 60. So there is a huge gap between one and the other. But when you make the first step to go to a CrossFit box, you understand the difference, because the community and everything that we already talk about, the last person finishing the WOD is the most clapped person, and we saw that on CrossFit Games with the
on
athlete on the steps. She was the last one, and everyone around her clapping. She only I think that she only realized on the amount of people that was supporting her when she dropped the bag for
the sandbag.
Sandbag.
Totally.
Amazing.
And you know, the mistake someone will make will be just looking at price. But it's like buying a car. You know, I want a car to drive from Paris to Dakar. You know, and if I only look at price, I'll be buying a Clio with, you know, a ruptured fuel tank, no air conditioning, and it's not 4x4. Instead of, for more money, buying the Land Rover Defender that has aircon, it's 4x4, super comfortable. It comes with Sebastian Loeb as a driver and a navigator and aircon, you know. And if my destination, Dakar, is my health, that's my goal, my physical goal, what's going to get me there? You know, the cheap version, the cheap car, or the more expensive one? It's the more expensive one, right? If you've got the professional accompanying you. And that's what a CrossFit coach is. So when you compare just price, you will make that mistake. And then would you rather waste 25 euros to not get results, or invest 65 and get your results? I'd rather invest 65 and get results than pay 25 and get no results. And those are the discussions you have to have with people, you know. And I think more and more people are recognizing that, you know. So you know, price is, we only live once, right? So let's make it good, you know, and let's live longer, let's live better. And that, you know, if that costs 65 euros more than a Globo, God damn it. You know, you know, in Portugal, you guys like to go out and party, man. Maybe one night of partying less, and then you'll join a CrossFit gym, you know.
Exactly. Or one last night dinner out, and you will pay the CrossFit box. Yeah,
or you know, or find a girlfriend who doesn't want, you know, expensive jewelry, and then, you know, you can pay for the year. I don't know.
Or exactly. So
totally.
Daniel, many thanks for your time and for sharing all this knowledge. I bet that a lot of questions would be that people that is going to hear the podcast say, oh, you should ask this and that, and message Daniel.
Yeah, they can ask me themselves, right?
Might answer you or not, depending on the time.
I generally do. It depends how. If you phone me, I won't answer the phone. And don't send me emails, because I get like 100 a day, so I have to filter those. But Instagram's a good way, and WhatsApp. But if you don't have my mobile phone, you can't WhatsApp me. So find me on Instagram, I suppose. DC one and only. That's me. And you know, Ricky, I'll be coming back to Portugal. So if you got listeners in Portugal who wanna come and ask questions, and I won't be at the next affiliate gathering. I can't, because I'm in Brazil. But tell them to reach out, and then stay close to Pedro Pereira. Right, look after my peds. He's the man. He's a
great guy.
Down in Portugal. Yeah, I'm very lucky to have him on the team. What a good guy. So thank you very much for your time. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for the chat. It's
Thank
good
you
to see you again,
for answering everything.
You keep looking after yourself, and then and let me know when you're opening your box. You know, and I'll come. You open your box, I'll come for the opening, without a doubt. I'll come and break a sweat in your box. Is that cool?
Okay. I will
Good
take
stuff.
note on that. I will charge you that.
Ricardo, thank you very much for your time, mate. You know, stay in touch, okay, buddy? Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Bye bye.